What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, starting a new deep dive into a new Frank Zappa tour right now. Going to deep dive into Frank Zappa's Summer-Fall 1978 tour. August of 78 all the way through Halloween of 78. I was originally planning on doing Fall 76 because I'm ranking the tours. That's what I've done. If you look towards the bottom of that list, I've already listened to 77 and 76. I was thinking of doing Fall 76 and confirming that those winter tours are where they are. But I received a comment on one of the videos that sort of suggested 78. And because Halloween 78 was just released, I thought, yeah, why not? Let's do that. Going back to the list, originally had it ranked at number 12, right below Winter 74 and above 79. That's what we're going to do. We're going to see if it deserves to be there. Is it ranked that much higher than the two I've already done? Try to figure that out by the end of the tour as we go through these shows. So today I'm going to discuss the first 4 shows from this tour. I'm not going to play any music from them. Just going to talk about them, talk about the set list, rank the shows as we go through the tour, and ultimately decide, is this, does this deserve to be the 12th rank tour? So anyways, this is the band that has Vinnie Colaiuta and Arthur Barrow for the first time. Ike Willis is there. He would stick around through the middle of October. Then he unfortunately would leave. You really noticed, at least I really noticed, the value of Ike Willis's vocals, both as just a singer, as someone doing interjections throughout the songs, listening to the Halloween stuff in which he's not there. Ike is valuable. You notice his vocal contributions in these early tapes. Denny Wally is back on guitar after being there in 75. We have Mars and Wolf are still around on keys. Ed Mann still on percussion. And so, yeah, and Frank. With guests, El Shankar kind of appears a lot through this tour. Not in these shows, though. But yeah, so we open up. The first show we have available is August 26, 1978 from Ulm, Germany. A number of songs. The sound is horrible. Out of the 4 shows I'm going to talk about, you have 2 good sounding shows, 2 bad sounding shows. The tour debut is not a very good sounding show. Definitely bottom of the list simply because of sound, if for no other reason. We get a lot of firsts, being that it's a new tour. We got the first Easy Meat since the Flo and Eddie era. We got the first Keep It Greasy since that popped up a couple times in 75, once in 76. First Meek Shall Inherit Nothing. I believe the first live Magic Fingers. Was there a live Magic Fingers prior to this? First Bamboozled by Love, and first Rollo appearing in this version at the end of Don't Eat the Yellow Snow. So we have all those popping up in the first show. There are other goodies in the next couple shows. The set list is pretty much the same in all these shows. Kind of looks like this. This is the structure around which a lot of these early shows are built, though there would be changes. Flakes, unfortunately, isn't in all of these. And then towards the encores, we get some goodies dropped in towards the encores. But this is pretty much what we're getting. Each night, Frank's getting solos in Easy Meat with one of the 78 Death Vamps, getting solos in City of Tiny Lights that has a Death Vamp. Village of the Sun solos, which are fantastic. Conehead solos are fantastic. Pound for a Brown, pretty much at this point, is Ed Mann and then the 2 keyboardists. And then Bamboozled by Love is usually a Denny solo and a Frank solo. But then we're going to have other highlights as we move through these shows. So anyways, the first show, Purple Lagoon, a dancing fool. The sound is horrible. An Easy Meat. Kind of a patient Easy Meat solo, not as aggressive as we would have by the next couple shows. Honey, Keep It Greasy, Village of the Sun. Sound is rough, but the solos at the end of Village of the Sun are really, really good and enjoyable. And just this nice loping, kind of half galloping type pace. It's like just this casual ride through the countryside type solo. Meek Shall Inherit Nothing. Denny's slide work on this is fantastic. City Tiny Lights, another one that just has this just this death vamp over which they solo. The sound on here is just rough. It's just like this blurry noise. Pound for a Brown always sounds good. Usually in the solo, you get Ed Mann with Vinny and Artie doing some pretty interesting things on the rhythm section. And then you get a Mars solo, and then you get a Peter Wolf solo. Usually they bring it down for Wolf's, the beginning of Wolf's solo as he's playing around with synths, and then they'll drop into some sort of funk jam. And that's usually the template for all these Pound for Browns. Bobby Brown always coming after Brown and just utterly killing the mood. Conehead delivering fantastic solos. The highlight of this show, and probably the only thing that's really worth checking out from this show, is the Conehead. The closing solo is fantastic. We get a Flakes with a "Wanna Buy a Duck, Tony?" Yeah, that's what Frank's selling here. A duck to Tony. No idea what that's about. And we don't get the jam. We now get that spoken intro in Flakes. So Flakes has changed since it previously appeared. Magic Fingers, Don't Eat the Yellow Snow Sweet, no audience participation yet, and a Bamboozle by Love that is a Denny solo and a Frank solo. Really, the only thing that's really worth checking out on this, the 826 show, is the Conehead, because the sound is rough. The Saarbrücken show, September 3rd, it's been bootlegged. It was in Beat the Boots. Pretty average snapshot of what this band is doing early in the tour. Much better sound than the show on the 26th. You get a Purple, you get a Dancing, you get an Easy. Love the organ sound in here. I think there's some organ going on that just adds to the overall flavor of Easy Meat. Vibe is pretty good. Ike's vocals are amazing. Honey, Keep It Greasy. The organ sound on here sounds really good. Not really a fan of Keep It Greasy, but I love listening to these instruments play this song. Barrow brings a lot. Well, this is the debut. Well, this is the first time it's been a tour staple. It's interesting to just hear this. Really familiar with it from the 84 tour. Village of the Sun, fantastic. The vibe, when this song drops, it's just like, it is just such a perfect, just such a casual, like 70s, just soft rock vibe. Absolutely amazing. The jam at the end is just great. Just this nice bouncy ride. Village of the Suns are always just fantastic. The Meek Shall Inherit Nothing. Frank's talking to the crowd, tells them to sit down. Denny gets a slightly longer solo than usual. Frank's berating people. City of Tiny Lights, really high energy. I don't think Frank solo's in this one. I think it's just a Danny solo. Pound for a Brown, your typical Pound. These are just too short. They would get longer as the tour goes on, but we're getting like 7 to 8 minutes. We need all these people to be able to solo longer. That's the only complaint. Bobby Brown, Conehead, super aggressive, good energy. We got a Flakes, Want to Buy Some Acid Bob. Magic Fingers, again, the keys and the organ just sound fantastic. That's something particular about this mix where you can really hear those keyboards as well. Don't Eat the Yellow Snow. Seems like Frank is just racing through the Nanook section. And then we get a Bamboozle to close out with a Denny and Frank. An okay show. Pretty much the only reason to check it out is because it sounds good, but that's about it. The next show on the 4th in Bremen, Germany. Really bad sound, really rough, really distance. It's a rough listen, but the sound and the overall experience is a little bit better than that opening show on the 26th. Purple, Dancing, Easy Meat. The Easy Meat's just kind of ruined by the bad sound quality. Honey, Keep It, Village, kind of an aggressive solo. We eventually settle into the groove. Pretty cool. Sound kind of ruins the experience. The Meek, Danny Wally, just sounds nasty, especially over the Death Vamp and the quality of the sound. It's just a chaotic attack metal blur. Pound for a Brown sounds pretty good. Love the part when they bring it down and let like Peter Wolf kind of have his own space for a while with no like rhythmic accompaniment, and then they drop into the groove. That's always just a really cool space. Just needs to be longer. Eventually it would be. Bobby Brown, Ultimate Buzzkill. Conehead, really nice focus solo. We don't have a Flakes. Magic Fingers, Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, where the sound gets worse during Nanook, finally gets better after a while. Then we're getting some more encores. We get a Dynamo Hum, which Frank seems like he's just racing through that middle part. Like, let's just get this over with. Camarillo Muffin Man, and then another Bamboozle by Love to close out. So, rough sound. And then we get what is easily, by far, the best of these four. I would say check it out. The sound is good. The performances are good. And we have a whole bunch of new songs now already being introduced into the tour lineup. We have the debut of Why Does It Hurt When I Pee, which is absolutely fantastic and is a must here. Yeah, this is a fun show. September 5th, Malmo, Sweden. Check this out. It's out there on YouTube. Purple Lagoon, Dancing Fool, Easy Meat, okay, Easy Meat solo. Honey, Keep It Greasy, Village. Sounds so amazing after the heaviness of Easy, Honey, Keep. The Village is just like, you're like out in the middle. It's a spring day. You're riding. It's a fall day. You're riding like a hay ride through a field. The sun's out. You're going to have a picnic and drink some lemonade. Oh, it just feels good. Village of the Sun is fantastic. Meek. Danny's got a nice little slide solo. His slide is perfect. City Tiny Lights. Vinny's trying to make the Death Vamp as interesting as possible. Some pretty good, decent City of Tiny Lights soloing. Pound for a Brown. Really cool. You get the Ed. You get the Mars. You get the Wolf drop into that little jam at the end. We just need this to be longer. Bobby Brown. Then we get the world premiere of Why Does It Hurt When I Pee. It's dedicated to Phil Kaufman, who was, I guess they were on the bus or somewhere, and then he came out of the bathroom at one point and asked, why does it hurt when I pee? So it's dedicated to Mr. Kaufman. I think he's the human trombone. Much bluesier vibe. It's a better vibe. The ending of it is kind of stretched out, and it seems like Frank doesn't know how to wrap it up, and the end just kind of goes on a little bit too long. But we get a nice slide solo. We get a Frank Zappa guitar solo. It has more room to breathe. It's not this tightly wound little proggy affair. Yeah, this is a really good debut of a song. I wish it had stayed loose like this. Though I do like the finished product, this is something different. Pretty cool. Then we get a Conehead. Feels kind of slow, the Conehead, but it's a really, really good solo. Best solo by far of the night. Long, patient. Frank gets to stretch out. It's not really epic. We haven't yet in these first four shows had any show that feels epic, but the Coneheads are by far, I think, the meatiest things that Frank's delivering on a nightly basis so far. We get a Flakes. Do you want to buy some Acid Bob? Magic Fingers. Don't Eat the Yellow Snow. Again, Nanook. Seems like Frank is trying to race through Nanook. Why play this show every night if you're going to race through Nanook? Not that I don't want you to race through Nanook at this point, if I have to listen to a Don't Eat the Yellow Snow literally for every show of this tour. But it seems like Frank's already bored with it. So, interesting. Then we get really interesting encores. We get a Bamboozle by Love, slide solo, FC solo. The vibe of the song is good, nice and gritty. Then we get a Cyborg, one of 10 known performances. The other one being on Chicago 78, which we have. Also, the other two are in the Halloween run, which apparently we're going to have released, according to the liner notes. One of them is an instrumental version because Ike Willis is no longer around. Ike sounds great, so Frank decides to do it as an instrumental. The second night, Frank decides to sing it, and it's kind of a train wreck. They even have to redo one of the verses. So hopefully we'll also get those two performances because that would be neat. But we get a Cyborg. Absolutely amazing. The absolute, just the Moog solo by Peter Wolf, just everything about Cyborg is fantastic. That goes into Little House I Used to Live In. This is the arrangement in which they take Ian's piano intro and turn it into a full band arrangement. The quality of this tour immediately goes up when they drop Little House I Used to Live In. This is what we've been waiting for. Like, show us this band's full range of capability, what this band can do that's a slightly different vibe. The drop-in of Little House just, I think, changes everything about this tour. We get a Mars solo where Mars kind of does almost like a George Duke type thing. He gets a little of that Mars type singing in. We get nice 3 minutes of Mars bringing it. Then Mars starts playing some really cool synth sounds. We have this really weird segue in which Mars starts going, tell me, tell me, tell me. And somehow that morphs into tell me you love me. Tell me you love me. Absolutely amazing performance. Amazing segue. Feels like it's completely improvised on the spot because it is not your normal smooth Frank Zappa segue. Absolutely fascinating. We even get like a rock and roll tell me reprise at the end. This is just the band like rocking out in the best way possible. And then to close out, got a bunch of people yelling Stinkfoot. Frank's like, I'm not going to play Stinkfoot. I'm going to play Dynamo Hum. Ha, take that. And so then we close out with a Dynamo Hum. Really good show. By far the best show of the tour so far. The Why Does It Hurt is fantastic. Everything from the Why Does It Hurt is fantastic. The Conehead solo is fantastic. And the encores. The Cyborg, Little House, Tell Me, absolutely amazing. Just a great sequence of music right there. But a fun show. A fun show. That's what the 4 shows look like ranked so far. The top 2 sound the best. The bottom 2, I'm not even sure they're worth checking out, to be honest. And I'll be honest at this point. Listening to these 4 shows, having listened to all of Winter 77 and Winter 76, right now at this point, there's not much difference between, there's no reason this should be a 12 and those should be way back in the 20s. Something's got to change. I know things will change. And I'm looking forward to what they are. But we need more of like the Cyborg, Little House, Tell Me stuff, the more epic Conehead solos. Otherwise, this might not be ranked all the way at 12, at least not based on this early stuff. All right, that's all I got. Those are my thoughts on this. I've already done all the Halloween 78. I've done Chicago 78 elsewhere. I will revisit those in these series briefly as we go through. But if you want to check out my original thoughts on those are elsewhere on this channel. But that's all I got. Welcome to summer/fall 78, people. We are here. Let's go on this ride. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Peace. Talk to you later.